Welcome back to another episode of the Eek of the Week. I'm your host, Albert Einstein, but you can call me Allie with an OWL. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. We're doing something a little different, as you can see, or I hope you can see. We're doing a Krampus episode since it is December 21st in 2025. We're getting very close to Christmas time. Well, it's been Christmas time for, ever since Thanksgiving was over. But we're going to do an episode on Krampus because, as you can see, my friends behind me here are very interesting creatures, and I want to know more about it, and I hope you do as well. So let's get into it. There isn't a blurb for this one, and I changed up the AI bot that I'm using. We're going with Gemini tonight as opposed to ChatGPT. Not that I've completely broken up with ChatGPT, but I like changing it up every once in a while. This is another Dark Files episode. I don't know if anybody's been following for a while now. There's a whole series called the Dark Files that I do. It could be on anything from cults to serial killers to Krampus to any of the other things that's dark and twisted and creepy. With that being said, listener discretion is strongly advised. Is that some of the subject matter could be triggering for some people, or might upset some people, or might be too horrific to listen to. So this is R-rated. So if any of that is not up your alley, please feel free to give this a pass. There are some more PG-rated episodes way down the list there that you would hopefully find appealing. Also, with that being said, if you're enjoying any of what you're listening to or seeing, please consider subscribing and following along. Give us a like and comment down below what your favorite episode has been so far, or what your favorite part of this episode has been. I would greatly appreciate that because I'm having a lot of fun making these, and we want everybody else in on the fun too. So let's see. This is the Dark Files episode, The Chain Rattler of the Alps. I'm excited because I know there's a movie about Krampus. I thought my camera just went out, but it didn't. There's a movie about Krampus. There's a whole lot of lore behind it, but I know nothing about it. I just see these, creepy, demonic-like figures and characters, but they're different in every village, I think. But we'll get into it here. I see all this stuff, and I'm very intrigued, and my curiosity is spiked. Spiked? Is that the word? Who cares? Let's get into it. I'll make sure I've got you guys set up here. December in the Austrian Alps isn't like the postcards. It's a season of, and I actually had to look this up because I don't speak the language. So I did a quick Google Translate. Der Rauhnacht, or rough nights. The air is so cold it feels like glass shards in your lungs. The sun retreats early, leaving the valleys in a bruised purple twilight. For centuries, children in these villages were told two stories. One was about the saint, the gift bringer. The other was about the thing that walked in his shadow, a creature of soot, sulfur, and unwashed wool. Don't know if any of you have ever been around unwashed wool, but it don't smell good. Imagine you're 6 years old. You hear a sound outside your door. It isn't the soft thud of a boot. It's the clatter of a cloven hoof. Then comes the smell. Wet goat hair and rotting birch wood. You've been told that if you were bad, you'd get a bundle of sticks. But the legends don't mention the sticks are for the skin on your back. Welcome to The Dark Files. I'm your host, and tonight we're looking past the kitschy Krampusnacht. I think I said that right. Parties and Hollywood masks. We're going back to the blood and the iron. Tonight, we meet the shadow of St. Nicholas. Part 1. The Pagan Anatomy. To understand Krampus, we have to peel back the layers of Christian paint. His name comes from the Middle High German word Krampen, meaning claw. But his DNA is much older, likely rooted in pre-Christian Alpine paganism. He is the half-goat, half-demon. In the old lore, his description is specific and nightmarish. He is covered in thick, matted black or brown fur. He has the long, pointed tongue of a serpent, frequently depicted lolling out of a mouth filled with jagged teeth. From his forehead sprout two massive curved goat horns. He possesses one human foot and one cloven hoof. The tools of the trade. Krampus doesn't show up empty-handed. He carries a specific toolkit designed for psychological and physical terror. The Rutin or Rutin. Y'all are going to have to forgive any mispronunciations. I know I'm going to butcher them. I'm going to try not to. The Rutin, a bundle of birch branches. In the Dark Ages, these weren't just symbolic. They were used for ritualistic flagellation. Number 2, the cowbells. Giant, heavy bells strapped to his waist. The sound was meant to drive away winter spirits, but for a child hiding under a bed, it was the sound of an approaching executioner. Number 3, the chains. Often rusted iron. This is a later addition, a Christian symbol of the devil in chains, meant to show that the church had tamed the beast. But listen to the stories. The chains never sounded very tame. Number 4, the Watson, a large wooden tub or sack on his back. This wasn't for toys. It was for the children who were beyond redemption, the ones who wouldn't just be beaten, but taken. Part 2, the Night of the Switch. December 5th is Krampusnacht. In the traditional Alpine villages, this wasn't a parade for tourists. It was a riot. Young men would, and still do, drink heavily of schnapps before donning masks covered from heavy stone pine wood. These masks are heirlooms, stained with years of sweat and smoke. Once the mask goes on, the man disappears. He becomes the perkt. Again, I'm probably butchering these words. The R-rated reality. History records... It's been an evening. History records that... I did it again. History records that these celebrations often devolved into genuine violence. The quote-unquote Krampus run was a release of the year's pent-up frustrations. The birch switches didn't just graze clothes, they drew blood. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the church and the government tried to ban Krampus repeatedly. They called it an immoral and heathen practice. Why? Because it was primal. It was a night where the social order flipped. The demons could strike the masters, the elders, and the children alike. There are accounts from the 1920s of Krampus gangs leaving entire villages bruised and shuddered in fear. But the lore goes deeper than just a rowdy night. There are the lost stories, tales of children who actually disappeared during the midwinter storms. The villagers would say they went to the sack. When the snow thawed in the spring and a small body was found at the bottom of a ravine, they didn't blame the ice. They blamed the goat. Part 3, the psychology of the shadow. Why do we need a monster to accompany a saint? To understand Krampus, we have to look at the dark side of the gift. Saint Nicholas represents the ego, the light, the reward for following the rules. Krampus is the id. He is the personification of the winter that wants to kill you. In the high mountains, survival depended on discipline. If you were a bad child, meaning you were lazy, you left the door open, you wasted food, for instance, you weren't just a nuisance. You were a threat to the family's survival. Krampus was the personification of that cold, hard consequence. The lore of hell, H-E-L or L maybe. Some mythologists link Krampus to the Norse underworld. They believe he is the son of Hel. Again, H-E-L. I don't know if it's Hel or L. The ruler of the realm of the dead. This makes him a gatekeeper. He isn't just punishing you for not finishing your chores. He is deciding if you are fit to remain among the living, or if you belong to the frozen wastes of the underworld. Even his tongue has a sexualized, grotesque connotation in ancient woodcuts, a symbol of unbridled, animalistic nature that the civilized world tries to suppress. When we celebrate Krampus today, we are flirting with that suppressed darkness. We are putting on the horns so we can, for one night, stop being good. The echo in the hallway. Today, Krampus is a brand. You can buy Krampus sweaters, Krampus beer, and see him in big-budget horror movies. We've turned him into a villain we can control. But if you ever find yourself in a remote village in the Gastine Valley on a cold December night, stay inside. When the wind howls through the chimney, listen closely. You might hear the jingle of a bell that doesn't sound like Christmas. You might hear the scrape of a claw against the stone. Because some shadows don't stay in the files. Stay in the files? And some debts are paid in birchwood and bone. This has been The Dark Files. I'm Albert Einstein, and you've been listening to The Eek of the Week. Sleep with the lights on, and for God's sake, be good. Thank you so much for joining us for this one, and we'll catch you in the next one.